So, Jamie, it's the final day of voting. What more can you tell us about turnout at this point?
Indeed, well, beyond policies and politics and candidates themselves, one of the critical questions has indeed been turnout. And we know that because last week was one of the historical low turnouts across the nation. Here in Paris itself, also a slight trend of higher voter turnout this week at 14.6%. Polling stations close around 8 p.m. this evening.
We will have some clarity tonight. Whatever happens, Anne Hidalgo is departing, so there'll be a new face, whoever it is. Tell us about the vote today, what you've been seeing, what you've been hearing.
Well, indeed, Super Sunday, you were saying earlier there, Gavin, and that is the case here. A sense of that in Paris. What's up for stake and what's up for grabs is just behind me, the Hôtel de Ville, indeed, where the Paris Council sits for its 163 seats. And I was catching up with a few people coming out of one of the polling stations here in Paris just a little earlier on.
This election could be a kind of preview for what could happen in a year's time.
Today I came to vote not for my preferred party, but to prevent an outcome that wouldn't favour our city or France.
So there's a question here as to whether Paris this evening will shift towards Rachida Dati potentially or not. We'll find out more later on, and whether indeed the colour politically of Paris will move from left to right.
Amongst others, we'll have reporters at the Hôtel de Ville in the capital. Smith-Maillet is there, and in the second city too with Clovis Caselli and Marseille.
This contest will be relatively tight, and that might mean we're in for a late and long night here until we get the official results through. Spoke a little too soon earlier, saying that those projections might come in later this evening, and in fact we have a projection relatively soon on in the evening, and with Emmanuel Grégoire, as you were saying there, from the left and Green Union coming out top in today's polls with a projection of 53.1%.
But we are going to start off at Hôtel de Ville, where Jamie Smith-Maillet has been keeping up to date with all the ambience, all the results and all the reaction.
And just also in the last 10 minutes, Anne Hidalgo, the outgoing mayor, walked past us here with a glass of sparkling wine. I don't dare say champagne, but anyway, she was celebrating these projections. And tradition is that the new elected mayor may make a speech outside Hôtel de Ville later on this evening.
Welcome back to the show, and we're going to be starting off in Paris because Emmanuel Grégoire is, according to exit polls, the next mayor. He is currently on his way on a bike. Jamie, what are you expecting?
Yeah, well, as you said there, we've heard that Emmanuel Grégoire should be arriving here in the next 10 minutes or so on his bike, as you said, cycling across Paris. A very symbolic choice, as this was one of the main battlegrounds in any case for his party and for the last two mandates under Anne Hidalgo, transforming Paris, transforming it into a cycle-friendly city.
Jamie, you've managed to hear the messages being read out. What's your takeaway?
I would say there's three clear messages from his speech. One is a sense of continuity. The second message is one that he gave of diversity. And he said that diversity is indeed our strength. And the third and final message is going forward about trying to bring Paris back together.
Well, standing by Hôtel de Ville is our very own Jamie Smith-Maillet. Jamie, I believe you've got reaction aplenty.
Indeed, yeah. Well, the crowds have dissipated here now at this hour, but they were definitely here out partying, and that's what he said. He'd be partying tonight and working from early tomorrow morning, is what Emmanuel Grégoire said on this stage here just in front of the Hôtel de Ville. Louise, what is your reaction, first of all, to this victory, essentially, tonight?
Yes, thank you. Tonight it's quite a release because we were really afraid of a victory of the right and the far right.
The sense as well of unifying Paris, because Paris, he said, has been divided by this electoral campaign. Do you think he'll be able to bring Paris back together in some ways?
I really hope. What is historical is that for the first time the ecologists and the left were united.
Thanks for being with us. Paris has spoken and it's sticking with the left in Sunday's municipal runoff. France 24's Jamie Smith-Maillet has more now from City Hall.
It was meant to be a close race here in Paris, but ultimately the projections that we heard early this evening put Emmanuel Grégoire out at the top. Of course, this is just part of the picture here in Paris, but ultimately this may throw into the wider scheme of things questions about the presidential elections next year. But all we do know for the time being here in Paris is that the victory is set for Emmanuel Grégoire.